Okay, welcome to the second tutorial. You'll remember last time we constructed an orthogonal drawing of a block shape, and I've just quickly drawn that block shape in 3D because I realised it might have been a bit hard to understand what it looked like. So that is the shape of this drawing. So it's isometric drawing there, orthogonal there. So that's what it would look like. So you can see this is our front face, our front view. Our top view is here, and our end view is from this direction here. Okay. What we're going to do today is dimension the drawing. So we want to end up with a drawing that is fully dimensioned. Now you'll remember last time I forgot to put a dimension there, so we'll tidy that up this time. First thing we need to do is to change our layers. So we're going to change from our construction layer in 0 to the dimension layer, which is in magenta. Okay, the next thing we do is we click on the Annotate tab up here in our menu bar, and we click on the Dimension Linear tool. So click on there, and we're going to start by putting our first row of dimensions along here, along the plan view. So I'm going to click on the endpoint, click on the second endpoint where I want the projection line to drawn, and I'm going to type in 12 millimeters and enter, and that will offset that drawing at the dimension line 12 millimeters from the construction line. You'll also notice, if you look closely, that the actual projection line, which is this line here, is not attached to the construction line. It's got a 2 mil offset, so I've set that, I've preset that for a 2 mil offset. That way, excuse me, that way it doesn't look like it's part of the drawing, it's less confusing. The dimension line across here and the architectural tick, sometimes you can put arrowheads in there, we're not going to worry about it for today, and the dimension actually sits on top of the dimension line always. If I select this line, I can, you'll notice that there's a handle there, and I can actually manually adjust that. That little blue spot there is called the depth point. So you can adjust your depth points. I'm just going to press escape now to continue on with my next drawing. Now I want to continue my dimension lines across. I don't need to go back to dimension because that means I have to select that command every time I want to use it. If I go across here to continue, select that, it continues on from the last dimension. So all I have to do is go across and click where I want the dimension to go and press escape at the end. All right, you'll notice that I'm not dimensioning the hidden detail at this point. I'm going to do that down the bottom, so I'm only doing the construction lines. So I've got my first row of dimensions. Now I'm going to stack the overall dimension on top of it. So I go back to dimension, and I'm going to click in the intersection here and go to my endpoint. And then I'm going to, once again, put in 12 mil to offset that. And so now I have an overall dimension. So if I add all those dimensions up, it'll equal 130. It's a good way to check that your calculations are working out and your drawing's nice and accurate. While I'm here, I'll put my end dimension on. So I'm going to click on here, click on there, type in 12 to offset it and enter. You'll notice that the dimension, again, is sitting on the top of the line, all right? Always sits on top of the dimension line. Now, golden rule with dimensioning is try to avoid having dimensions between drawings, so between views. So the next row of dimensions are going to be on the bottom. So I'm going to go back to linear. And this time, I'm just going to continue on. This time I'm going to do these bottom dimensions, so 12 mil, enter. Then going to click on continue and continue on to do these drawings. Press escape. Once again, I've got to do my overall dimension. Go to the endpoint, press 12 mil and enter. And there I have my second row. Okay, the next row of dimensions I'm going to put in here on the end. So now I can determine the height of the individual objects. So I'm going to go back to linear. I'm going to put in this dimension here, which is our little rebate in the end, which is 5 mil, put in 12. Now you'll notice on this occasion the actual dimension is formatted so that it sits on the outside of the line. Technically this isn't correct and it's going to be a problem for us later, which you'll see, but we'll come back to that in a minute. Let's finish off these string of dimensions. So I click on continue again, and I'm going to, this time I'm going to put in this little hidden detail dimension. There we go, and you can see that if I do that, it's quite messy, and I don't really have, it's a bit confusing. You can't really tell which dimension that's referring to. So rather than do that, I'm going to select these dimensions, delete them, and I'm just going to grab this and drag it to the end. So now I've got my rebate in the bottom. And then I'm going to grab that little number there and I'm going to drag it in because I think it'll fit. And it fits pretty nicely. I'll just manually do that. I'll go back to here and I do my overall dimension. 12 mil again. And then I've got those dimensions stacked. Unfortunately, I haven't got these dimensions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put them on this side here. So I'm going to click there. Then I'm going to go into that endpoint to get an accurate point. I'm going to just track it back. When I get to there, I'm going to click and drag out 12. So I've got that dimension. And then I'm going to obviously have to do this one here. So I'm going to go back here. Track it back, click, 12 mil. And now I'm just going to continue to do the last bit, so which is going to be there. Okay, now something weird's gone on here, so I don't like that. I'm going to Control Z because I've done that a weird way. And I'll go back to my original dimension and I'll just go continue from here. So I click on continue, I select my last dimension. I go to my endpoint and I'll track that back. I think that's a better way to do it. Yeah, much better. So there you go. This looks a bit neater. So I've got 25, 20, and now I've got my overall dimension. I'm going to click on the endpoint, drag it out 12, enter, and that should pretty much be all the dimensions I need. In order to make that product. I'll just quickly save that. Control S to save. Okay, so that looks pretty good. The only thing that we're missing now is the titles for each object. So, for each view. So what I'm going to do now is go back to Home up here and click on Text. And then I'm going to click and drag. So I'm just going to find where I think roughly the center is. And I'm going to press caps lock because we always try to write in uppercase. So, and I'm going to put in top view. Now you'll notice that the font's different to this one. So I'm going to show you how to change that in a minute, but we'll quickly move this into position. Bit better. Okay, so I want to change that style. I don't really like it, so, and the size of it's a bit small, so I'll make it bigger. So I've just selected it. I come up to this box here where it says properties, and I go to this little arrow on the right hand corner and click it. And you'll see the property manager comes up, and because this is selected, it goes to text, and so it tells you what you've selected. It's got text height here as 2.5, so I'm going to click in there, click on that button, and I'm going to change, sorry, that's quick calculator, that's not what I want. Height. Okay, I'm going to type in there 10 mil and enter. Now, I don't know why that's applied 10 mil. Maybe that's a bit big. I'll just change that. Okay, and I actually don't like that font style, so I'm going to go back into properties, and where it says style, I'm going to click in there, and you should find a style that says mark. I'm going to click on that. And I still think that's probably a bit big, so maybe we'll change that to, say, 8. Let's make it 6. Apply. That's better. That looks better. 6. Okay. So there's our top view. Now, probably an easy way to do this is to select it, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Put that one there, and Control V to paste in the same spot. Just sort of guess you can offset these, but we're not going to worry, we're just going to guess them for now. I'll show you how to do that later. Okay, now obviously they're not all top views, so what we're going to do is select that one. I'm going to go back to property layers, property manager, and where it says contents up in here, we're going to click in there, and on that little button there, and in that little box we're going to change that to front view. Click out there. Okay, escape, click the next one, go back to property manager, contents, click on the contents, then there's a little box to the right, select that, and then you'll see that the dialog box opens up on your screen. So click inside that, and we're going to put end view in there, so you just backspace that to get rid of it, and then left click, and there we have our titles. Now you can move those around, you could set up some guides there to get them centered properly, to make it neater, which I can do now if you like. I may as well do that. So let's just select line. I'm just going to click on a line here, and spacebar to repeat the command, so we'll get another line there. And now I'm just going to offset 15 mil. Just give me a nice space. And do the same on this one. Oops. 15. Okay. Now with this, I can just select the tool, and I'm just going to bring it down so it sits on top of the line. And then obviously I'm going to delete that line, and I don't want that line there, so I'm just going to delete that line as well. And this one, I'll just select that so it sits on top of the line. Looks pretty good, it's close enough. Just extend this line now. Click on that, in view, text, and pretty close, looks pretty good. Escape, select the line, delete. And I've obviously got a line here I've got to clean up, delete, and they're pretty close. You can move that into the center if you want. That's pretty much dimensioning. Looks good. See you next time.